Hey, all you hungry bards and bardettes, welcome back to iCast Vicious Mockery.
A show about concentration, about deliberation.
And how to stay on that grind.
Yeah, if you mean like the D&D grind, you know, like keeping up with those sessions. Anyway, I'm Matt.
And I'm Austin B. And I'm going to walk you through how to really make your first million. Listen, when I was a kid and I walked to and from school, here's what I would do. On the way there, I would salvage uranium from a submarine. All right? So I'd keep that in my backpack at school. I'd sell a little bit to some of the kids at lunchtime. And then on my way home, back home from school, that's when I would flip it and make, I don't know, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a day.
Let me tell you how I made my first million. I would frequently take my sister's makeup and I would, put like bags under my eyes, with the makeup. And I would convince everyone that I was sick and I needed help. And then I started a GoFundMe page and I said it was for my leukemia treatment. And then everybody gave me an accumulation of $1 million. And I spent that on my private yacht.
Wait, did you survive though?
Yes.
Wow. That's inspirational, man. Wow. Wow. Just way to grind and way to thrive. Right? Like
Really,
survive
yeah.
and thrive.
Right. People will just give you money if you ask for it, so just that's all you have to do.
It's weird because it's partially true.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But okay, so for most of my life, I didn't have any money.
Sure.
Like really any at all. And now I wouldn't say I'm loaded or anything, but I do frequently find myself in a position where like I could make someone's day better by giving them something. And yeah, that's cool and fun to do. And I want to do it. So I guess there's that.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, people aren't really, they're not giving you money. Like, it's not a selfless thing. Because how do you do something selfless when there is no self? As the Buddha would say.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't say it in English.
Yeah.
But maybe?
Well, my boy,
Mm-hmm.
backing me up, my homie, Dick Hart, he would say there's only self.
See, I can't jive with that. Because if you have self for sure, and I have self for sure.
But I don't know that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I can't know if you do, but I also, how do I know that I do? And I know what you're thinking. It's because I'm thinking. But how do I know that I'm thinking? And what is the thing doing the thinking? Like, where is that? And what makes it different from... Actually, that's the thing in Buddhism that makes you, like, not have a self. It's not like that you can't think or that there is even... It's not even that there is not a you. It's just that... like, just because there is a you, that doesn't mean that you're any different from the rest of everything else.
Where is you?
Yeah, where is you? And also sometimes what is you?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like what part of you is you?
Right.
That goes down to now we're getting back, not to muddle every culture in the world together here.
Let's do it.
The ship of Theseus sort of thing,
Yep. I know who Theseus is. He invented those papers that all the college kids write to try to get their master's degree or whatever. And it stresses them the heck out. And so we can thank him for that. Thank you, Theseus.
Mm-hmm. And your many Thesei.
Yeah, something like that. But before this turns into a linguistics podcast.
Oh, it's not a linguistic?
No, we better steer clear from that today. Okay. And I have a good reason for not wanting to talk about linguistics that maybe we can talk about later.
Okay, cool.
because I have to come up with it. It's going to take me a little while. I'm working on it right now, though. So during this entire podcast, here's what I want you guys to listen for. I'm going to listen for all the times that Matt says something, and I just go, uh-huh. And that's it.
Okay.
Like, those are all me coming up with the perfect reason for this like throwaway thing that I said just a little while ago.
Okay, let's focus here for a second.
Uh-huh.
User Samwise Writes has a magic item.
Okay. Wait, Samwise, how does Samwise write? How's this spelled?
With a pen and paper.
Okay.
It's a WRITE, right?
Okay.
He's got this ring of focus that he's developed here. It's a ring of focus.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare.
Very rare.
Yeah, it requires attunement.
Okay.
And only if you cast spells can you do that.
What if I try anyway? How does that work?
Yeah, how would that
How
work?
does that no like in D&D in general, if you try to attune to something that you can't attune to, does it just not work? You just waste 8 hours or whatever? I guess so, right?
Yes. I think that in some instances, the way they explain it is oftentimes things that need to be attuned by a particular type of person. I think oftentimes they're sentient magic items. So they like just don't let you.
They just kind of give you a little slap.
Because they're like involved. It has to be like a mutual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, while you're wearing this ring, you automatically succeed.
See, I'm determined not to get to the end of this because if we did, like that would make this item seem underpowered. Right? Like imagine if we could focus as normal, like level 1, just humans, default humans.
Okay.
Right? We're not even as strong as a D&D character at level 1.
Okay.
And imagine if we could focus well enough to get to the end of this piece of homebrew right now without even trying.
Well,
no magic, no ring of focus.
What would that require? Maybe some Adderall.
Right.
Or do you mean naturally?
Do you know how that works, by the way?
No, I don't.
So Adderall is a stimulant.
Okay.
So I mean, think of other stimulants as well, because they all actually help focus. It's really crazy though.
Yeah.
What makes it so your brain is like, oh, hey, I am all over the place. I'm thinking about 18 different things right now, but if you pour in some more gas, we'll get going on one of those.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. But actually, the reason is due to arousal, like general organism arousal, not like sexual arousal or anything like that. And so the way it works is if you have like if you feel really stressed out and that's making you focus on something. Right, it's basically doing that, but instead of stress, it's just using, other neurochemicals instead of whatever one makes you stressed.
Right, a more artificial sort of stimulation to that part of your brain. Okay,
right, yeah, that's kind of how that works.
Yeah, is it because
basically nothing catches your attention normally if you have like pretty severe ADHD, but then with Adderall, you can. Like it's easier for you to get fully invested into something. It just becomes easier because you're already partway there. Yeah,
that makes sense. Let me ask a question that neither of us have the answer to and we can only speculate on.
Okay.
So when I drink coffee, which contains caffeine,
right?
It serves to, I think I might have mentioned this before on the show. It serves to just keep me awake physically, but mentally, I still am gone. Like nothing's going on up there. Basically, it just makes it so I can't sleep.
Yeah,
but I'm not but it doesn't like get me going. Like it doesn't work I don't think it works that way with other people. I think other people, it actually wakes up their brain and gets them started in the day.
If I have a significant amount of caffeine, I also get a stimulant effect from it. And actually, caffeine makes me feel, in particular, very happy, which it feels so stupid.
Okay.
You know, like how all I did was, drink some caffeine and now I feel great. That's so dumb because people work so hard to be happy, and all I got to do is just one little sip. But anyway, so actually though, caffeine in general is a pretty dumb stimulant because all it does is bind to adenosine receptors and block the hormone that tells your brain that you're tired,
Right.
like physically tired and mentally tired. So you don't. I mean, it probably does do other stuff because, again, I experience other effects from it, and I'm sure that other people do as well. But that's its main effect. And so what it really does is just make you decide that you're not tired, kind of.
Right. And those listening might maybe speculate that maybe I've drink too much, and so it's sort of a diminishing returns, like maybe it's just not working for me. That's not the case. I only drink caffeine, like about a cup of coffee's worth in the morning 4 days a week, and no caffeine at all the other 3 days a week. Which I don't think would be enough to cause any sort of anything really. Really, exactly. I'm
not sure. Well,
it's hard to say.
The 4 days in a row does sometimes throw stuff off, but I don't know. And
that's mostly because for my job, I wake up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just can't fall asleep at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I kind of just need it to be awake.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's not just caffeine, it's coffee specifically, because I can take other types of caffeine.
Oh, that's true.
And that doesn't have the same effect. I do feel mentally awake with other types of caffeine. I've been drinking sponsor. Yeah. We're not sponsored by anybody. But I've been drinking Celsius, which is, I think, kind of controversial right now. I've heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that some people think that it's bad for you in some way. Like there's something in it that's not good. I don't really know. But I mean, if it comes out that there's something really nasty about it, I'll probably stop drinking it. But for now, that's what I've been drinking. That doesn't do that for me. It has about the same amount of caffeine as a cup of coffee would, but it doesn't, it's better. It works better for me. And I just wonder why that is. I wonder, what I've always speculated about it is that coffee is otherwise there's really nothing else about it that's beneficial to you, right? It's just the caffeine itself.
I think so, yeah.
And everything about it. And I don't really particularly like coffee. So oftentimes I will drink it with a lot of cream and sugar. That might be the thing that's affecting my brain the most.
Yeah.
Is the extra bit of sugar that I put into it.
Yeah. Which could also make you feel just slightly later, like it could make you feel more foggy or tired.
Right, which I think it does. Plus coffee's a diuretic, so you have to for some people it evacuates their bowels immediately. It doesn't do that to me, but I do. I have to pee immediately after drinking a cup of coffee.
Oh, what were you drinking just before the show, though? That's not true. It's water. God, it's late o'clock at dark, man.
It's 0 dark 30 right now.
Right now, yeah.
It's not that late actually, but I'm going to try something dangerous here. Going back to the ring of focus. While wearing this ring,
yeah,
you automatically succeed on rolls to maintain concentration on spells. That seems too good. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, you're giving up an attunement slot for it.
That's true.
First of all,
That is true.
those are expensive. You can get really good stuff in there. So it's like if it was the first magic item you found, you would you would absolutely attune it right away, and you'd wear it for almost all of your campaign for sure.
Okay.
Right? Like it's that level of no-brainer, mega ultra powerful, really good. But is it the best thing?
That's an interesting thought. Like, if you got it later on and all your attunement spots were already filled with other things, would you give one up for this?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. It depends on what the other things you have are.
And it also, you know what? At some point, this feels like in like an RPG, like a video game. You have sometimes like a character build that's an all-purpose general character build. But then sometimes for certain bosses or certain monsters or whatever, you also have like a specialized build for those because you can take them down at a lower level and it's worth it to try to fight them then. This feels like the general all-purpose item.
Yeah.
That you might switch out to something else if you're like, okay, I'm feeling a situation coming along here where this ring isn't going to be the most important thing. Like maybe I'm not going to be targeted that much. There are going to be more beneficial effects that I can do, you know, like that sort of thing. Think like there might be items that allow your buffs to work better or debuffs to work better or stuff like that. And you might know that you're going to need those more so than a boost to your concentration.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
But it's like, true. It's good.
It is good.
It's like really good.
It's really good.
How rare is it again?
Very.
Very.
Very rare.
Is it... Is that how it was described, or is it like one of the...
Yeah, that's what it... Yeah, the rarity scale is common, which is not,
I see.
not
okay,
magic.
Yeah.
It's common, uncommon, rare, very rare. Wait, what's the penultimate one?
Wondrous. Oh, no.
No, wondrous is a different kind of descriptor.
You're a different kind of descriptor, baby.
They stop you after very rare. They stop using the word rare. Is it? Oh, it's yeah. Okay, it's legendary.
Oh, legendary, right?
And then artifact is the most rare.
That is so dumb.
But it depends on the campaign.
Okay, so artifact, does that just mean there's one of these and it was like an actual important thing?
Yeah, that's what artifact means, and usually it's something that actually is way better than a legendary item. But they're also always story specific.
Mm-hmm.
As in, whatever's happening in your campaign, this item is directly related to the antagonist in some way. Or the antagonizing force, or, you know, whatever.
Or the protagonist.
Or
the protagonizing force.
The protagonizing force, yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, you know... So, yeah, that's super interesting.
How come you can't protagonize people?
Well, it's a
look. I'm about to go around protagonizing everybody, man.
I'm going to protagonize you right now. That's just being really friendly. Killing people with kindness?
No,
because
you can't kill people with the kindness, though, right?
That's true.
You'd have to because I think being overly friendly is usually seen as an antagonistic thing to do. Like, I think it puts people off.
It can.
So being protagonizing to somebody, I forgot how to say the word there. Being protagonizing to somebody would mean like, what would it mean? Being like the perfect level of nice to someone? Like the exact level that they need at that moment? Or, I don't know, what would it mean?
I don't know, because it's not that hard to be antagonizing, but I feel like it's really hard to be protagonizing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's kind of like that thing where you. Well, I don't know, because being nice to somebody.
Is it about having someone's back? Is that what it's about?
Maybe.
Is it about like coming to the rescue? You know?
Well, okay, so getting somebody to like you isn't about being nice.
No.
So if that's what we're assuming this means, if protagonizing somebody means that you're trying to get them to like you,
I guess it can't be based on their feelings toward you. Right? Like because if I'm antagonizing somebody, it's just like me being bad to them, but they can react however they want still.
oh, well,
And
then,
so if I'm protagonizing somebody,
so maybe you're just being nice to somebody and being friendly.
Yeah.
And how they react to it has nothing to do with it.
maybe. Or does it?
Well, if antagonizing
I don't know.
somebody, if what? Okay. I'm just
So
gonna
if
say,
you try to antagonize somebody
and it doesn't work.
and it doesn't work, and they enjoyed it instead,
Are you now
are
protagonizing
you
them,
protagonizing
or
them?
is it still considered antagonizing?
Basket is currently protagonizing that door.
She really is.
She's gonna protagonize right on through it if she can.
I think I got it latched this time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that she'll be able to get in.
Nope. She does not know how to open doors, and we're not teaching her.
Not yet. Yeah.
God, that would be a nightmare.
Basket learning how to open doors.
hmm
Yeah, that'd be rough.
So we're in the middle of moving. It could happen any day now. But I heard that there are coyotes in our area, our new area.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Where do
Yeah.
they live?
You know the school nearby to there?
Yeah.
Apparently they find them all the time in the parking lot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I can't think. I'm not very familiar with that area, I guess, but it's not a very heavily forested area. There is a park right there, I guess, but it's not a very big park.
Dude, those coyotes, they just run it all around.
Yeah, I guess they're just coming out of nowhere.
We have a fence, so we'll probably be all right. And if worst comes to worst and a coyote gets in, Basket can probably fight a coyote.
Basket can
She
take
could,
care.
she could take her.
She can
No,
get a
we'll-
coyote.
We'll work out a little more and she'll be all right.
Do a little bit of strength training.
Yeah, the coyote will come in like all lean and hungry because it's a wild animal, and it'll be like, what the heck are you? And Basket will flex her 12-pack and be like, come at me.
Come at me, bro.
And the coyote will be like, I'm out. No thanks. By the way, how did I get in here and how do I get out of this fence? And
Yeah.
Basket would be like,
If I knew how to get out of this fence, I would. Anyway,
I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. That's what I imagine Basket's voice is like.
you gave me a great idea earlier.
Yeah, yeah,
by the
yeah.
way. You like, it really got the gears turning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, conceptually here, this is just the beginnings of it. Campaign, one of the mechanics is that no item is attunable. You can't but you still have attunement. You have 3 attunement slots. Like, you still do. No item is attunable, like, deliberately.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like forced upon you or anything. Every magic item is mediocre, or like, just works in some sort of basic way. But after an indeterminate amount of time of using it, you bond with it and unlock the next level of that item.
Ah,
And you can do that with up to 3.
there you go.
I like the idea of unlocking like the latent power of something.
Plus,
It's a cool thing.
it kind of goes along with the like having a signature weapon.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I like that.
yeah.
That, in my opinion, was one of the most appealing things about Ruby
Mm-hmm.
to me, was they
And
all
you're talking
had,
about RWBY Ruby.
Yes, RWBY. If you're not familiar,
RWBY.
it's an animation series. It's a small Rooster Teeth. If you're familiar with Rooster Teeth, is the studio who made it. Like really small. Probably about as small of a studio as you can be to make something like published that you can like watch on platforms. Anyway, the creator was really good, tragically passed away, but they all have all the characters have a weapon that is like a martial arts weapon sort of combined with some modern weapon of some kind. And I think they're all really creative, some more than others, but for the most part, like there's a lot of creativity there. The main character has a sniper rifle that is also a giant, like, Grim Reaper-esque scythe.
Yeah.
And they all transform.
Okay, now
Who
wait.
doesn't like that? Yeah.
What we got to come up with some magic items where, you know, you've got the first form and then it changes into something for the second form. Here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Magical pet rock.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
And it has all of the features of a regular pet rock and none of the features of anything else.
Okay.
But then when you upgrade it, it also lets you like shoot lightning out of it, maybe, or something like that. We'll come up with a spell exactly.
Okay.
But I think like you just through your bond with your pet rock, if you take care of it well enough, you suddenly realize that like you can feel, you know, the energy flowing through you, and you just boom, lightning right out of it.
Lightning pet rock.
I think that's a, you know, that's an extreme example of this idea, but that's kind of what we're going for, right? Like you and this object, you kind of like you're out there taking care of each other. You're looking out for each other.
You can flavor it any way you want. I was thinking it could be something like you've used this so much that you figured out it does this extra thing, and it's like not like it's not something that you would just know. But you've used it so much that you're like, oh, hey, look, this does this too. I didn't realize that.
Dude, my magic skateboard actually, like, check this out. If you like do this, it turns like the wheels sideways, and now it's a hoverboard too. That's sick.
That's dope, yo.
That's dope.
Check
out my magic hoverboard now.
Heckin' dope, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be anything.
Or like it could be like a bond thing. Like maybe there's some sentience to the items, so you're like, oh, it likes me now, and it's gonna let me do this too. Yeah, lots of possibilities. But also that unlocked another idea that I had. This definitely exists. Maybe I'll look it up so we can talk about it more in depth later, because I'm sure somebody's made this before. But a glass cannon character that's a Pokemon trainer.
Oh.
Where
yes. Okay, so this type of thing I have seen homebrew for.
You have.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you're thinking not actual Pokemon, first of all, right?
No, not actual Pokemon, but similar concept where you tame beasts and they do your fighting for you. But I think that it's worth worth exploring the idea that when they go unconscious instead of dying if something happens to them in battle, and they're automatically safe from harm after that in some way, like Pokemon are. Because I feel like nobody would want to play it if this thing that because I want them to be able to be leveled up. And you don't want your like fully leveled thing.
Right.
That's
the biggest difference, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone ever does like an animal tamer type archetype where your pets, I mean, I've seen ones where they get like little boosts, but like what if the pets got all of the stuff from leveling up? Right? Like you're a level 1 dude, except for your hit dice, which, you know, continue to add up. But like you don't get stat boosts, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
Just you get animals.
They level up. Or I was thinking they level up with you. Probably your hit points would level up too or something.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean.
But I think your hit points should be lower than a regular character.
Maybe like a D2.
Maybe like half as much, I think, is actually probably fair. Or a certain percentage of whatever hit points you would have go to your creatures or something. I don't know. Whatever. That's spitballing. But because you still have to be part of the action to like give commands and stuff. So you have to be in there in some capacity.
Yeah. I guess the way that I was figuring it was almost the creatures that you have, their hit points don't level up, but everything else about them does. And then your hit points level up, but nothing else about you does.
And you just get more creatures as you go on.
But plus, you can also get magic items or things like that for yourself.
Right.
Or for your creatures.
And for your creatures. And I think maybe one of the main things that the player would be able to do is stuff like heal their creatures in battle or something like that, like swiftly. But because, this idea came to me because I was watching a video. Have we talked about, I don't know if you've seen this YouTube channel. I don't know if we've talked about it or not. It's called Pointy Hat.
No,
you've never.
I can't believe it. Someone knows a YouTube channel that I don't know.
Yeah, it's a D&D YouTube channel called Pointy Hat. He doesn't have a very big following right now. Not in the grand scheme of things, more than us. But yeah, but
hey, you better watch it. Pointy Hat.
Pointy Hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're pretty soon your head's not going to fit in that hat. If you keep it up like how you've been doing.
Yeah. Well, he does a cool thing where he has these short, relatively short for YouTube, like 20-minute videos that he takes something from D&D, like a race, a class, whatever, and then he describes what it is, the very extremely brief history of it in D&D, and then he puts a twist on it, right? And this wasn't his twist. This was a twist that I thought of based on his ideas of a ranger. Because a lot of people don't like rangers, and there's good reasons to not really want to play a ranger.
Yeah, I mean, because they're not realistic. They're nothing like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They're nothing like the Turbo Power Rangers, like Zeo Power, it's not even close. Right,
precisely.
Zeo Rangers, they might not be called Zeo Power Rangers. They might just be called Zeo Rangers. And Turbo Rangers? It's definitely Mighty Morphin. Anyway.
Because Rangers aren't the best at fighting. That's like fighters and maybe barbarians, if you want to argue that.
They're a, 7 of all trades.
Yeah.
Master of none.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely not a jack. But maybe like a 7.
Yeah.
Of all trades.
They have their toes dipped in rogue, druid, fighter, but not really. They're not the best at any of those things, but they have.
It's a thunder show today.
There's thunder and it's really raining out there.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what that noise was at first, but I glanced out the window. It's raining. It's heckin' raining out there, man. Boy, oh boy.
Wonder if Basket's outside.
You better hope not. She's wet now.
She'll be out there until she dries. That's not true. Come on, guys.
Right. Anyway,
if she was outside, we'd hear her.
Oh, she'd be audibly.
There's nothing that makes her louder than.
She was just scratching at the door.
Yeah,
and whining at the door.
She's a minute
ago, so she's probably inside.
Yeah. All right. Rangers.
I think Ranger is it because the subclass that a lot of people want to play and quickly find out isn't actually that fun is the Beastmaster. Because one of the things that people don't like about it is you have to use your entire turn to tell the beast what to do if you want them to do something in particular. And I get the balance of that, because if you could do something and your beast could do something every turn, that would probably quickly spiral into like unfair territory.
Right. Yeah.
But if we like really flip the script on it, because also another thing is that your beast companion is not very useful, really.
It feels supplemental.
Yeah.
Like at best.
At best, yeah.
I think the Beastmaster is pretty much generally best if you find something that's rideable and then you just ride it like any other class would.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the time, like that's. I mean, I'm not in the min-maxing community in any significant way or anything like that. I don't know all the details, but that's just what it feels like to me, like looking at it from the outside perspective on the Beastmaster there.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really know the most about it either, but it's just one of those things that I don't know. I think I've laid all the ideas out there, but just to organize the thought here again, flipping the script in my mind would be make the ranger useless,
right,
and make the beast really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, like just amazing.
Yeah, like really cool.
And I like the idea of multiple useful beasts.
Yes, and
in different situations even.
Yeah, that would increase the utility so much. Like you get to pick for any situation in the middle of a battle. If your beast goes down, you're not like out of luck completely. Like it's not like you just can't do anything anymore.
Well, plus I like the idea of like a Beastmaster who trains their animals.
Yeah.
Right? Like actually makes them good at stuff.
Right.
That's pretty cool. Like, yeah. Instead of just finding a wild bear and being like, hey, I ride you now. And the bear is like, I'm angry still. So let's go kill stuff. You're like, hey, I ride you now and you do my taxes.
Right. Right. And it's not like okay. So maybe in theory, this would mechanically work a lot like how a druid works, because they can turn into animals.
Right.
But I also like, I like, and maybe that's the way to make this. Maybe I'll actually look into like how this could be, because as far as level scaling, because druids can turn into an animal a certain number of times per short rest based on their level.
Right.
Maybe that's a good like sort of path or framework to follow, I guess, for how many beasts you should have access to at what levels.
Right.
Because I think it really should start with one. And I don't know what the max would be. Maybe like, I don't know, like at level 20, maybe you should have like 5. Maybe 4.
Yeah, it depends on what they are, I guess. Because I have a hard time finding any situation where a bear would be useful at level 20. So you're going to have to level up like what they can have. But even like, all right, so say you find a Triceratops. That's not going to be useful at level 20. I think the level, like the strength curve is a little too steep for animals to generally keep up. So I guess what it comes down to is we have to figure out what abilities can you give to these animals to make them, stick around.
Right. And I wonder if the answer is to just take abilities from other subclasses
and just throw it on the animal
and just give it to them.
Yeah.
Like that would be the easiest thing to do instead of making up your own. Like give the bear rage.
Yeah.
Boom.
The only problem is then you're now making a whole Pokemon game with all the different abilities that this would be intense, but extensible. Like you can add to it.
Right. Well, I am fully aware that to do this would require monumental efforts.
Yeah. And that's why today we're announcing our new Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. Our new D&D supplement book titled Monumental Efforts.
Yeah.
Not monumental is maybe an extreme way to say it.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be monumental, but it would require a lot of work to be, because I would want to have more than just 4 or 5 different options for animals.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, it's actually not fun to play a Beastmaster if you know which beasts you're going to get. That's part of it.
Yeah. Oh, that was a thought that I had too. The taming system, you don't just get them. Like
Right.
you have to like encounter and tame them in the wild. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I just think like if there are only 5 of them and you know like basically this is going to be your progression, you're going to get squirrel first, then you're going to get a baby artichoke, and then you're going to get, I don't know, a lemur, and then a bear, because I've been using that as the example because of that bear spell. And then you finally get like the ultimate one, which is a bee's nest, right? Like, I don't know, like if there's no surprise to it, then it feels like there's no point in playing it. And I think that's what the Beastmaster does pretty well, is you can just take any of the vanilla animals. You have a stat block, you can have it. It's not any of them, but it's whichever ones you can realistically tame or whatever.
I think that like Pokemon though, it would be nice to have a list of ones that you can tame.
That's what, yeah.
And but then I like that you can pick which one to start with. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's fine, yeah.
Well, you pick one to start with.
Right.
And then like Pokemon, you go out and you find one that you want next.
Yeah.
Or if you encounter one and you decide you want it. Yeah.
What you need, like what this necessitates is basically a full subclass for every tameable creature.
Essentially,
which is going to be probably any beast, right? Like,
yes,
like
beast.
literally anything categorized as
under
beast.
Beast, yeah. I agree. I agree with that.
So that's a lot of stuff to do. You actually might be able to, because beasts have CR.
Yeah, I was gonna say challenge rating caps are definitely going to be part of it.
So you might be able to break them up into category by size, CR, and then a couple of other small attributes that change, so that a bear and a leopard are mostly the same, but the bear has like the bear can't climb as well as the leopard, but has a stronger bite attack.
Sure.
So it's easy to kind of generate the whole thing almost.
I was thinking along the lines of similar to that, categorizing the beasts and then having, I think that you can get away with just making 5 or so potential upgrades and then just kind of blanketing them over certain groups of beasts, which is similar to what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. Like if you're in the large woodland creature category, like a bear or like a mountain lion or like a mountain lion's not that big. But yeah, then you get these certain upgrades or whatever. Yeah. Actually, bears are kind of almost in their own category.
Yeah, they really feel like they are, aren't they?
I mean, I guess a wolf might be in a similar category to them. You'd really want to look at all, like we got to just right now. Let's pull up the full list of beasts in D&D 5e, and then we can break it down. Because what you want to do is you want to break it down into groups that are really large to save effort in the actual game, construction of it. So that way you can get to the playing.
Right. The other possibility, the other option is to literally only have, I don't know, arbitrarily like 8 beasts that you could tame, but then flavor it how you want.
Yeah.
Like a panther is the same thing as a leopard, mountain lion, whatever. Like,
Oh, well,
like
yeah,
if
definitely.
if you want that to,
You could break them down into like big cats,
yeah.
big canids, which includes bears and stuff. Then you could have your rodents, which includes somehow both capybaras and chipmunks. And then you could have your, like your, I mean, really, that's already covering a lot of the things you could have dinosaurs, like literal dinosaurs, because that's a category of beasts. You could have beasts of burden. Or what's the other word for like a herd animal?
Is that a general...
or like for cows and stuff? There's like another term for it. Anyway, basically stuff like that, and that covers a lot of stuff pretty quickly. And then you'll just have a few rare exceptions where you just kind of have to be like, all right, platypus, you just go. You can be a rodent.
But I think that if I don't know, I feel like you can uncomplicate it enough to make it usable.
Oh, well, even if it's complicated, you can make it usable.
Oh, well,
it's just how much work it takes before it's playable, right?
Right.
Because one thing that you could do is you just get vanilla animals and they get their vanilla stats, and then they get set boosts on those stats, and then they get set abilities. Like you can pick from a list of 20 abilities to give to your squirrel. Yes, you can give your squirrel hyper strength, but it's not as useful on your squirrel who only has 0 strength to give it hyper strength, because now it's only got 3. And so it's got a -4 instead of a -5.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whereas if you give your zebra hyper strength, then now it's like kicking the heads off of a T-Rex and whatever. So
yeah,
like
sure.
that's pretty nuts. That'd be pretty cool.
So again, conceptually, what I'm thinking here is, I think the number 4 is pretty good in terms of number of that. Isn't that how that is what Pokemon is, right? Or is it 5?
5.
How many you can have on your team?
6.
It's 6.
Yeah,
I think that's too many for D&D purposes.
Right. I think so too, especially if you can move more than one per turn. Oh my god.
I think you can only have 1 out per turn.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Are you thinking, do you keep them in Pokeballs? Or like do you do like a dimensional like summoning scroll?
Yeah. It's
like Naruto style?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something like that. And I think, again, that can be whatever the player wants. Like, how do you summon your animal? Doesn't matter.
I kind of like the idea that it starts out as a wild animal, but then it like learns to talk and it develops like a personality.
I don't know that they would talk, but I mean, well, I mean, you can do whatever you want. Yeah. I guess I don't think I would do that, but maybe somebody would.
Yeah, I guess you have to be careful to leave it up to the player.
Sure.
And then you also have to talk to your DM to make sure, to see who's doing the crazy character voices.
That's important.
If there's going to be somebody doing that.
Right.
I feel like with a Beastmaster, if you cast talk to your animal or whatever spell it is, the DM would be the one to respond, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for this class, if you do that, or this subclass, whatever it might be, I do not think that the DM would be the one who would respond to that. Right? Like, because these are part of your character. Mm-hmm. So I think if they talk, I think it's up to the player.
It does kind of change the territory a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes it so that
they're not NPCs.
This is as much your character as the actual character you're playing.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that in depth.
I just did because I was here and I didn't have anything else to do. So I was like, hey, let me try getting real deep up in that homebrew.
Now, leveling up. I think that, again, if we're going to go with 4, you start with 1 at level 1, automatically you have 1. And I think they're just going to start with base stats because level 1 is terrible and it should be, and that's how it is. So even a base stat bear would be crazy to have at level 1.
Right.
But sure.
Or a horse is really good.
Or anything really.
Oh my God, if you had like a freaking lion. Imagine the dude who just walks up to your party and is like, hey, what's up? And then like they've got a lion behind them. Your party's like, oh no, it's gonna eat them. But it doesn't because they're buddies. Look. We have to find some way. We'll come up with it. All right, before the homebrew comes out. So your level 1 character can't have a lion buddy. Or maybe they can. Maybe it'll work out.
Well, I think that's where the challenge rating cap comes in. Maybe your starting animal has to be of a certain challenge rating.
But also, I don't know. I guess then the animals have to level up enough or in unique enough ways that your starting animal is always useful. Because how terrible would it feel if your dog, like your actual pet dog who you brought to go adventuring, and everyone was like, "What are you doing? Why did you bring your dog?" And you were like, "I swear he's going to be useful." And then like 10 levels later, he's just in the Pokeball all the time.
Oh, poor guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No. Yeah.
Well, okay, but here's my solution for that.
Okay.
That I'm thinking. So, every time you level up, maybe you get something, but definitely you can level up an animal, one of your beasts, and every 5 levels you get a new beast as well, or you get the chance to tame a new beast.
Right.
So, you start with 1. And then you get one at level 5, at level 10, and then at level 15. And then, nope, never mind. This already doesn't make any sense because my thought was you pick which of your beasts to level up at any given moment. But that doesn't make any sense because if you only get them every 5 levels and they can only level up to 5 times, then you would just have to do them in order.
You would just do them in order, yeah.
You would have to do them in order,
yeah,
essentially. So maybe it would be better to accumulate them more frequently, so you have them all sooner. But then they still level up progressively.
Yeah,
I might like that better.
Yeah,
maybe you get them at 3, 6, 9, and 12. I like that better. I like that a lot better, actually.
Well, what do you do at level 1? I mean, you're totally useless at level 1.
What do you mean? What do you do?
Like, what do you do?
So the beast always starts with just base stats, right?
Oh, you still have one at level 1.
Yeah, you have one at 1.
Okay.
And then you get another one at 3.
Then you start getting them 3,
and then you
6,
get one at 6, and then you want to get one at 9. Wait. Oh, I guess that would be it then. 3, 6, and 9.
Yeah, that could work.
Or 4, 8, and 12.
1, 4, 7, 10. Just go 3 levels in between.
Oh, there we go. 1, 4, 7,
because then it's
10.
actually it's easy enough for you to choose to max out one of them before you actually have accumulated them all, or you can spread it evenly.
Yes, I like to have that option. I think that option is to do that is good. So you definitely will. The one that you have will definitely be leveled up at least once before you get a new one. But then after that,
now I'm a little worried that
the
difference between their level 1 and level 5 won't be great enough to make a difference between your level 1 and level 20. Whoa, level 20, because. Like your level 1 dog will be whatever, average when you're level 1. But if you level it up to level 5 by the time you're level 7, and it's already as good as it can get, it's the goodest boy you've ever seen. Now you're walking around with something that a level 20 character should have, you know?
Well, I think that it balances out because the whole concept of the character is that you have a bunch of these things.
So it's
And-
probably not going to be that good on its own.
Right.
Maybe.
Like, and maybe at later levels you can bring more than one out at once. Maybe that's one of the benefits that you get
Or you
later.
have more options to switch them or things like that.
Yeah, or you can switch them on the fly a little bit more, right? I think it'll work. I think it could work
Oh, yeah. No. I think it can definitely work.
because
It's just, it's complicated to balance, but there are probably multiple right ways to do it. Actually, that's what I'm thinking.
there are probably a lot of right ways to do it.
I think that's why it's hard to come up, because if there was only one right way, to be honest, I think we would have figured it out by now.
Probably
Just in this brainstorming session, we'd be like,
on the show.
that's it.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Although, hey, maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll have
and
it.
you'll have the perfect way. But I think that that's part of the versatility of it is that you can fully level up one of your animals and have the other ones be at base stats for a while. But if that one that's fully leveled up goes down in a fight, you got to sit down and eat that meal that you just cooked for yourself.
Yeah.
Because now you have two that are mostly useless. And I think that's fair because you kind of knew that going into it.
I think part of the fun of this is that you can. I think it'd be fun if you're able to cast your animal like a spell in a certain location.
Yes,
Right.
of course.
Like you
Yep,
basically you summon them somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have all this like battlefield manipulation stuff that goes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, where you're trying to like find the right place to go, summon your mole so it will dig under the enemy's feet and make sure that they have rough terrain.
Yeah. Dig under their feet and pull them under like ninjas do. So that just their head is sticking out.
Yeah, that's what the mole can do when you upgrade it.
That's level 5.
That's level 5. No, that's level 4. Level 5 then gives you a golf club after that.
and the mole learns how to say the word for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun. It's like that video. You ever see that video of the kid where it's these two brothers and the one brother is laying down and he's got a golf ball on his nose and the other brother's got a child's like plastic golf club, and instead of even trying to hit it like a guy, he just lifts it up over his head and whacks him right in the head. It's great. You should
I would
video.
100% believe that has happened. I think that I've done that.
I wouldn't put it past you. You have brothers.
No. Yep. And we've definitely hit each other with those things. Like
It's just so tempting.
I remember dents in them.
The plastic, yeah.
Yeah, as it would happen. The dents are
great.
usually from them hitting each other, right? But sometimes it's from hitting a person.
Hitting a person. Hitting somebody so hard that you dent the thing you're hitting them with is usually pretty rough.
They're not very tough.
But it depends. Yeah.
They're not.
They're kind of flimsy.
They're not built to last.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I think we made a lot of progress on this potential.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, percolating.
Yeah.
idea of a subclass.
It has a lot of mechanics to it, and I don't know. Game design takes a little while, and in a tabletop game, there's a lot of that, like a surprising amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly.
With a video game, you kind of like come up with the rules, but they can't, I mean, I guess you can do like a tabletop video game and then you have twice the work. But
yeah,
a lot of the time it's more of the implementation that's the difficult part in a video game.
Right.
Where you're trying to like work on the physics and you're trying to work on stuff like that. Like exactly how it's programmed. With a tabletop game, it's all rules, and you got to balance it against all the other stuff that's already been made.
Though, is that really much different than a video game? Because programming a video game is kind of like setting up the rules of it.
Well,
of what you're able to do essentially.
yeah, but you
and not
kind
able
of,
to do.
it's a different step that I think gives people trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It would be like if creating the PDF was the hard part of, doing a D&D homebrew.
I see.
Which it kind of is, like making it look nice and stuff like that. If you want to do that, could be a little harder than just throwing something out there.
Yeah, conceptualizing it. Yeah,
But yeah, I think with a video game, like a lot of the time, the hard part, if you have a good game idea to start with, you still have another challenge ahead of you, which is implement. Oh, you know what though? If you have a good tabletop idea in front of you, then the next step is explaining it well enough that someone can use it. And that's as difficult as programming.
cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But the fact that you came up with it on your own organically for me is nice.
Yeah. Yep.
That you thought of the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. They're both just basically writing until someone understands it, but it's either a computer who understands it or a person.
Or a person. And it's, I think,
Well, the computer always understands exactly what you wrote.
it's you that sometimes,
You just wrote it wrong. And I think it's the same with people.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is very similar. Because like if you put the information in the wrong order for a computer, you lose track while you're writing it, and it loses track because you messed up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same for a person. If you put the stuff in the wrong order and you add too many details in one spot or not enough here, or you make a paragraph that's too long and their eyes just gloss past it, like you're gonna lose people on the details.
Absolutely. I think that was a something I don't even remember where in school. In one of my classes in school, we had a group discussion about this, the burden of communication, or the burden of clarity and understanding in communication.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, whose responsibility is it to like for communication to get across? Like is it the person doing the communicating, or is the person receiving the communicating? And if you say it's 50-50, is it really always 50-50? Like,
all right, so if you are selling me your book, guess who the burden is going to be on?
It's on me.
Right.
For the seller, yeah.
If I want your knowledge from a I guess from like a scientific paper, guess who the burden is on?
That's on you.
Right.
Yeah.
So at some point it's the worth of the knowledge contained within the thing that you're reading. And knowledge doesn't have to be, I guess I'll say the information.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The information, whether it's actual like knowledge, like pieces of knowledge, or just things that surprise you, which is kind of what all fiction is. It kind of surprises you in a way. Even if you know where it's going, you don't know exactly what it's going to do. So it's kind of the like little gentle surprises. Anyway, that's if that is more valuable than the money that I spend on the thing, then I feel good about that purchase, and you'll continue to sell more copies.
Certainly.
And if I don't feel that way and nobody else feels that way, then you'll stop selling copies. So I guess that's what it comes down to.
Well, let's
stuff like this.
Let's recontextualize it though.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it you are communicating with you, or your boss is communicating something to you about your job.
Mm-hmm.
Your boss wants you to understand because it's an important thing to get done. You want to understand because if you do it well, that'll reflect well on you.
Yeah.
And you want to do it well. Is it 50-50 in that case?
Well, whose time is worth more?
Well, there you go. I mean, maybe because in some instances in a company,
mm-hmm.
The boss would be paid more, but they don't do as much for the company.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it's the other way around, where the employee.
Yeah, I think who is worth more.
Yeah,
right. Like
right.
That's the person who Like who actually gets them, like, yeah, who's gonna be the most important person to like have more use of their own time. In many situations, someone who is managing other people needs to assume responsibility for the communication, because they're trying to get multiple people doing things at once.
Sure. Yeah, like management.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what managing is, I think.
Yeah, that's management.
It's just trying to get more than one person to do at least one thing each. And so there, a lot of the burden has to be on the manager, because they need the what are managees? What are those people called? One of those guys.
Yeah, the people.
If you're one of those guys,
them's guys. Yeah.
them's guys
Them's
who's
dudes,
doing the stuff. They need to be doing more of the stuff generally, and that's where they are most valuable. They are not often most valuable trying to decrypt an email. However, if you look at a job like mine, my direct supervisor and indeed the people above them, they're in a hierarchy in the organization, in the section that they're in, based on their knowledge. So like the people at the top know more stuff, and so they are needed to encounter harder problems and to face harder problems. So it is then my job to understand them.
Yeah.
Right? Like they don't need to make themselves understood. I need to get it and then work and not waste their time, so that they can do more important things.
But let me flip the script on you. Wouldn't they be more valuable to the company if they were experts in communicating and could get people who maybe wouldn't understand, like if they were better at getting their employees to understand what needs to happen?
So some of it falls on this like experience versus like this graph of experience versus communication skills or something, because
we need a graph. You're right.
Yeah. If you like, I can't get as experienced as them no matter how much they try to communicate with me. So there are certain problems that I simply cannot do, and they have to.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah,
there are certain things that I just can't take care of. And for those things, they just so happen to also be some of the most critical things often. And so they need to be available for those things as much as possible. If that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they also tend to bear the burden of making up for everybody's schedule below them and stuff like that, which it's a lot of work. They have it tougher than I do, which is unusual, I think, in most organizations.
I don't know, because one thing I've noticed that I didn't realize before is that's the burden of management. That's the true burden of management.
Yeah, that's true.
In a lot of instances, the higher pay is not worth the reduction in freedom. Right. Because you're so necessary that you have to go in more often, sometimes more often than any other employee.
Oh, by a long shot, yeah.
You have to consider things from work when you're not there, because if something goes wrong, you're kind of responsible for making it right in emergency situations too.
Well, yeah. You know what? I think you're right, though. Even if you just look at the time, the first 40 hours that I sacrifice, I'm putting that in air quotes. It depends on, how you think about your job, but assuming you have a job, the first 40 hours a week that I sacrifice to that are not worth as much as the next 20 hours if I have to sacrifice 20 more. And if I have to do 20 more, those are worth even more. Like it goes up.
Oh, yeah.
If I only had to work 10 hours a week, That would be so easy. In fact, that would actually be like positive at that point. Like I would be getting more out of it than they would be for paying me.
Sure.
At a lot of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's already like nice and it feels good. And then if you push it to the extreme, if you go to 160 hours a week, you die. So somewhere before that, there is a point where they can't afford to increase your time. Like no amount of money can get them to do that because you'll die. Like even if you accepted it, you die still. So like the consequences there, and they lose you.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't really continue to pay you, or like they just wouldn't be able. It wouldn't be worth it. I can agree with overtime, like legally costing more to people. I think that makes sense because the larger percentage of my time that I give, the more valuable that time was to me to use for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's kind of the whole balance of it is how much is your time. Well, okay, that's a whole other thing though.
Right.
How much you value your time and everything.
Right.
And we're in it, man.
Yep.
We're in it.